All right, Devin, that's going to bring us to crowdfunding corner for this week. This is today's November 6th, so this crowdfunding corner will go out on November the 8th. First up here, well, I guess just a little heads up. We usually show games that are somewhat interesting to me. I choose them. There's almost an unlimited number, and so it's hard to include everything. So sorry if I missed something that you're interested in. I'm generally kind of a Euro gamer at heart, so that's kind of where I lean. But this first one is from Allplay, and they do a bunch of small games in little boxes. Devin, I have 3 of them right here, standing up here.
Wow.
I have 3 of them right here.
These games are durable. You're going to want to pick those up soon.
Yeah, for real. I have Chomp, Fiction, and what's that one called?
Mountain Goats.
Mountain Goats.
Fell off the mountain.
Yeah, I just about killed Devin with it. They're pretty fun, like smaller games in this cool square-sized box was my point here. Just kind of little games. They do a lot of these. I think they have like 20 or 25 of them in this line at this point. This is 4 new ones. So you can get them all in this Kickstarter campaign separately for $19 each, I believe. Or you can get the 4-game all-in bundle for $76, which is the same price as $19 each. But if you do the 4-game bundle, you get all of the premium components and any expansions for those 4 games included for free. So you can see like the expansions for each of those games that either have like premium upgraded poker chips or upgrading the cardboard chits to I don't know what those are, premium tokens or bonus staff cards or these big meeples for the other 2 games. So they give you what they say are $58 in extra stuff if you get that 4-game bundle, which is a little tempting, to be honest. But let's look at the 4 games. They are Ruins. Ruins, I think, has pretty cool kind of art style. I like the weird art. And you're trying to get these different cards, and the game comes with sleeves and these cool transparent cards that you will layer on top of the base card. And you're trying to, I don't know fully, but you're trying to make some cool ruins with that. And the idea is it's a card shedding game. You're trying to get the cards out of your hand before everyone else can. But I really like the aesthetic, and it reminded me when I was reading it of a game I really love called Scout, which is an excellent card shedding game, but this one has a little bit more going on with that layering of the transparent cards. But I don't know, I really like the way those transparent cards look. It's a cool feature that I feel like whenever I see it, I'm like, ooh, cool. But I think I only have 1 game in my collection that actually uses this, and it's not even in the same way. It's Cloud Age, where it comes with sleeves that have clouds printed on the sleeves, and then you put the cards in the sleeves, and you can only see portions of the card through the clouds, which is also a cool kind of anti-transparency. But anyways, that one is Ruins. That's the first game there. It kind of explains here how you play. Again, I love how those look. So hopefully I wonder what those are made out of. It can't be paper, right? They'd have to be plastic.
I assume so.
Yeah. Anyways, and you play different sets from your hand. Again, kind of gave me Scout vibes when I was reading this. But all right. Ooh, and I like the deluxe upgrade here is instead of cardboard pieces, you got wooden pieces, and you got big poker chips. Again, instead of cardboard pieces there. Okay, next one is called Odd Land. Has these quirky, weird-looking animals. And this one is a tile laying game where you are, I say tile, but it's actually cards. The cards have 4 different biome squares on them, and you'll be overlapping different sections in order to kind of alter the land. And then you can place your weird-looking animal meeple on a spot to score points. Like it says this Bagator, which is a weird-looking dude, scores 2 points per space in neighboring water territories, or something like that. So every animal is scored differently. So you're playing down a card and then placing down an animal in order to score as much as you can. And the upgrade here for these are really cool, like wooden versions of the. I like the. Where'd it go? I just saw a pigeon horse. Oh yeah, Pidgeorse. Oh, this is a moving image. That makes sense. The gator, the kangaroo, Owloose, Grizzly. So weird, but I kind of like the weirdness, to be honest. Tells you how to play here a little bit, and it comes with an expansion with a Cheetoise. It's a tortoise cheetah and a whalephant. And again, the game would come with these cardboard pieces, but if you buy it in the 4-game bundle and get the deluxe upgrade, it comes with wooden standees for those dudes. So, and there's a bunch of them, it looks like. Anyways, that's a fairly simple game there about kind of a puzzle in the center of the board. Next up is one called Vegas Strip. This is a game for 2 to 6 players, plays in about 40 minutes, and in this game, you're bluffing, and you're trying to you're putting your own markers in front of these different casinos. Let's see if I can show an image of it right here. And you can put up to 2 of your pieces in front of a casino, and you'll have some hidden information. Like, I know that this casino and this casino are corrupt, but the rest of them are not corrupt, or something like that. You won't know all the information, but you'll know some. So you're trying to bluff and not let your opponents know that you know which one is corrupt. The one that you score differently based on whether one is corrupt or not. Let me see. How does it say the scoring works again? I feel like it was right here, actually. If it's a corrupt casino, I think when scoring a corrupt casino, the highest bidder wins 10 points and everyone else gets nothing. In a non-corrupt casino, whoever has the most points there loses, and everyone else gets points equal to their bid, which are cool contrasting ideas there. So that's Vegas Strip. The extra stuff here is the upgraded bet tokens. Instead of being cardboard, they are this cool. I don't know if that's plastic or acrylic or what, but those will definitely feel nice, I think. And there are some promo cards for different casino powers. So that's 3. The 4th one is a game from the good doctor
Reiner Knizia.
You got it. Devin's got that name memorized because we talk about him almost every week.
I knew he was going to pop up.
Oh yeah, he's everywhere. This game, I think, is a remake of an earlier game with maybe a couple of changes. And in this one, you are trying to get sets of different kinds of money. And I'm trying to remember exactly how you score. You are bidding for cards like at the exchange, but then you can use the cards you bid to trade for the bids of other players. Reading how the game works was a little wonky. I think seeing like a round in action would help for sure. And then you score all the sets you have of different currencies, which just looks like different colors of money, I guess. You have 200 or more of a currency type, you score the value of that currency. If it's under 200, you score the value of that currency minus 100. So I imagine you could get negative for some if you don't get very many points of a certain color. So anyways, also has a deluxe upgrade with some cool meeples. So anyways, Allplay, they do good stuff. I think that these 4 games seem pretty interesting, to be honest. Some of their other ones, like let me show you. They have, oh, this is actually cool. If you get the all 4 game bundle, it includes this wooden Allplay token, and it will give you a unique code on the back, and each code is redeemable for 1 free tiny game in their tiny box line. I don't know which games they have in that line, but also very, very $4 shipping in America, even if you get all 4 games. Pretty crazy. So I don't know. I think it's a pretty good value if you want like quick games. Some of them from really famous designers that have a bit more game than the box would make you think. So, anyways, that is the 4-game collection from Allplay. And that one ends, I think, if I can scroll to the top because I can't see the scroll bar. There we go. On November 14th, like most of the games that we'll be looking at today do. Okay, next up is one called GRINIVIL. And this is kind of an economic strategy game where you are trying to buy and expand land, then rent the land to make money, and you can like put different buildings as this cool round board. It's supposed to be a bit heavy, and it doesn't have a ton of backers at this point, but it's gotten some pretty good buzz from some people online, such as Rado and others. Very unique art style. This is a pretty indie game. I think it's like the 3rd game designed by this guy named Rudy. What was his name? Lost it somewhere. Rudy. And published by his company, Rudy 3. Game is by Rudy Przynski. And there's 2 different versions. The base version and then a deluxe version that comes with metal coins. Like I said, I feel like I'm ultra zoomed in here, so I'm going to try and zoom us back out to 100% if I can. Oh, that's too far. Let's go to 90, actually. I don't mind how that looks. Then it gets that big button out of my face. Okay. Yeah, in how to play here, looks like you are expanding. Kind of, you buy different portions of land, and these kind of 90-degree segments of land are added. Rows will be added. And then you can rent out the land, plant trees. As a very kind of indie art style as well. You're also like keeping resources, and there's a fluctuating market of how much those resources cost to use. As a weird looking, what is that? A 1, 2, 3, 4-sided die in a weird shape. And yeah, just a very quirky, unique looking game. So I wanted to give it a shout out. It looked like one that could be really cool. I like fluctuating markets, and kind of economic focused games with markets like that. So GRINIVIL is on Gamefound, and that one is I think also on there until the 13th. Yeah, until the 13th of November. Okay, next up is, I thought it was called Mutagen, but in the video they called it Mutagen. So it's one of those 2 words. And it's a customizable worker placement game set in a biopunk universe. And it's published by Dronda Games, who I really enjoy their games recently. I have what's the train one called? It's called Isle of Trains All Aboard. I thought it was right behind me. It's actually right behind Devin. They've been making some really killer stuff lately, so I'm kind of intrigued by this one. As artwork by the Micho. Okay, so yeah, Dronda, I feel like they've been doing really cool stuff lately. Really like the artwork in this strange game. What universe did they call it? Biopunk. You ever heard of Biopunk, Devin?
No.
Like Bioshock? I don't know.
And steampunk.
Steampunk, yeah. This is a worker placement game where you have different workers, and I think one of them's like an engineer and a mechanic, and you'll be sending them to different places on the board. Then you can also mutate those workers in different ways, and they'll get like some extra perk. And so they actually have attachable little items that you can place on the workers to show their mutation, which is a pretty cool thing. I have a game behind me called Oak that has kind of a similar vibe, where when you get an upgraded worker, you get to put a different like outfit piece on the meeple, and it is fun to do that. Again, I really like the artwork by the Micho. It looks pretty I don't know if commonplace is the right word, but the worker placement looks, the board, I guess, is maybe my one complaint. It looks pretty basic. Like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots there. You can't see my cursor. Like here are the 6 chunks you can set your worker, which I guess in worker placement games, that's not too uncommon. But I didn't like the way the board looked for some reason. But I do think the artwork's really cool. I think it looks fun. Even if worker placement seems like it's maybe used too much in games nowadays, I like the mechanism. So I don't know. I guess I'm complaining about nothing. But yeah, it has a solo mode, and in the deluxe version, you get those little hand pieces that will made from soft PVC that will attach onto the meeples. They also have in that deluxe version 2 expansions from David Turksey and Johnny Pack that are just like 2 mini expansions you can add as well. So, anyways, I think the game looks cool. That is Mutagen from Drawn to Games, and it is also on Kickstarter until the 14th, I believe. No, sorry, the 13th. Okay, next up is a party game. This one is called Half Truth Second Guess. This one was designed by Ken Jennings, the Jeopardy guy, who I think hosts Jeopardy now, and won like a bunch in a row. And Richard Garfield, who I think designed like Magic the Gathering. So like 2 pretty sharp dudes. I have the first game, Half Truth, which is a fun party game. Devin, you've played it with me a couple times. In this sequel, it's fairly similar. Just comes with a bunch of new cards, a similar board. The main difference here is in your team, each player gets to decide if they're going to submit like 1, 2, or 3 answers instead of the whole team together as a team. And so if I'm end up being correct, I contribute to my team's score, even if my teammate, doubled down and was wrong, which I think is cool that each team member will be able to.
Is it like that golf game where you take the best shot?
Oh yeah, there you go. Best ball.
Best ball.
Best ball. Half truth.
Half truth. Best ball.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they're going for here, I guess. But yeah, really great party game. I've enjoyed it a lot. My family, I think, has liked it. It's a trivia game where you don't have to be good at trivia because they're tough questions. Like one of the questions on the back of the box in the first game is like, movies over 3 hours long, and it lists 6 movies like Dances with Wolves and 5 others, and 3 of them will always be true and 3 will always be false. But all 6 of those movies were within like 5 minutes in length of each other, and I was like, I don't know, Godfather 2 or Dances with Wolves. So there's sometimes or things that it's hard to know. So the point there is that the person that knows the most about trivia isn't always going to win in this game. It's about when do I make a safe bet and when do I double down. So Half Truth is really great. I've been thinking about this one. I think it's cool. I already have the original, but I like the idea of the different teammates being able to contribute in that way. So we'll see. I'm guessing that one will also come to retail. Hopefully, it has quite a few backers, 1,200. That one is also there until the 13th of November. Okay, next up is a cooperative game. I'm not a huge fan of cooperative games at times, but this one I thought had a unique piece on the board, so I wanted to give it a shout out. Even though the gameplay seemed, I don't know, somewhat comparable to other cooperative games where there are like these disaster cards that come out, and you have to put enough like pieces on the disaster card to get rid of it before it puts like pollution and bad stuff in the air. The way that you win in this game is by putting enough sustainability tokens on the one side of the board so that it is always flipped this way. And if you fill that side, then your team wins. If there's ever enough pollution on the other side that the board tips, you immediately lose. So you can never tip to the other side or you lose. So you got to manage the pollution and then you have to fill the other side to win. Cool idea there. It's very much a gimmick, but it looks cool to see it like tipping. And tipping point being in the name is kind of fun. It has a lot of cards, some unique like player boards, but it's mostly, playing cards in order to stop the disaster cards so that we don't get more pollution. I think on this page they mentioned that this game was designed like in some sort of a collaboration. Yeah, right here. Earth 2053 Tipping Point was created in cooperation with Uwe Rosenberg, the designer of games like Agricola, Bonanza, Patchwork, which I have, in Ottawa, and A Feast for Odin, which I also have. He's one of the kings of board games for sure, Uwe Rosenberg. He's like the farming designer where like you always have to feed your workers or else they die and stuff. But anyways, a big name to have thrown around on their page here. So anyways, I thought it looked kind of fun. If you like cooperative games, that seems like a fun mechanism there with that tippy board. Seesaw with 50 wooden discs.
Wonderful.
A bunch of cards in there as well. That one also ends on, that one's the 14th. 13th and 14th. Lots of games ending on those days. Okay, Devin, this game is called Tend from Ivy Studios. You've actually played one of their games before called Fractured Sky. They make kind of big, pretty games with kind of fancy pieces, and this one is no exception. It's very cool. It's a sci-fi farming game where it's kind of a roll and write. You are doing a bunch of stuff on a board in order to plant crops and go fishing, and whoever has the most successful farmstead in this sci-fi world will win. But it has some kind of weird quirks to the game. So let me show you kind of the parts here. So a new kind of flip and right. You have these cool dice, and you have to kind of plow the ground underneath them. And then the die sits there, and then from turn to turn, it will kind of rotate to the next side to show it like growing. And then eventually it gets to a side that has a white number, and that means it can be harvested, which is cool. But it also is, like they say here, it's technically a flip and scratch and roll and tick and stamp and write. But that's too long to put on the box, they said. In this game, when you till the crops, you're going to draw these little squigglies. You put these cool crop dice on there. And then the game comes with scratch-off cards. When you go explore the woods, you use this metal coin to scratch off sections, and you don't know what's under there. It's printed like in kind of a random fashion. So when you're mining, you're doing that, which is very cool. They said during this campaign, they included an extra 50 scratch-off cards. So it comes with 100, you get 150 during the campaign. And they have a mobile app, or it might be a web app, where you can like pull it up on your phone and play an unlimited number of times. Because that was my concern. It's like, well, what if I run out of scratch cards?
Mm-hmm.
So kind of cool that they've thought of that. Very cool idea. You also have these fishing little sections where you're trying to roll dice on like a column and row basis to catch the fish you want. And you're marking stuff all over this board. And then the other side of the markers is a stamp. And you're putting these different goods in your shipping manifest. And they could be fish or plants or other things. And so you're filling that up in kind of this puzzle mode as well. So there's a lot going on here. Kind of premium component versions here include the fancy markers that have the marker on one side, the stamp on the other side, the scratch and sniff, not snip. The scratch cards are included in every version, I believe. And yeah, it has a neoprene playmat in some of the versions, a bunch of different markers, tons of different. I think each player gets 2 sheets, a project sheet and a farm sheet. And then you also get a scratch-off card for the mines and fishing cards. A metal coin for scratching, the cool fishing dice. So it's very like a pretty game with lots of big components. And then as part of this campaign, yeah, there's an extra 50 or 100, depending on the tier you do, sheets. So very cool idea. My neighbor is backing this one. So I probably won't, and I'll probably just play his copy. Their games are kind of expensive. If you want the version that comes with the markers, which is the middle version, not the one with like the playmats and the extra version, that is $100. So it's and they have a $130 version with the super deluxe stuff and a $70 version, but that one doesn't come with the markers. So I don't know, kind of unique, for sure. They do unique stuff over there. That is Tend. That one is on Kickstarter until the 14th as well. Nope, the 15th. Holy cow.
Just going one day at a time.
Yeah. And I think we only have one more. Is that right, Devin?
Correct.
Okay, last one here is Robotopia, a strategic Euro game of robot revolutionaries. This is a worker placement game. Kind of has a cool robot vibe to it. I like the way it looks. In this game, you have 3 different levels of workers, 1, 2, and 3. And the level 1 workers you place right on a spot. The level 2 workers you place on the line between 2 spots, and you get to activate both spots. And the level 3 workers go at an intersection between 3 spots, and you get to activate all 3, which is pretty cool. Other than that, it has kind of a cute aesthetic. It looks like it would maybe be a kid's game, but it says like 70 to 120 minutes, and I think like 12 plus at the top. So even though they went with a more cartoony and child-friendly aesthetic, I don't think it's meant for kids. I think it's a Euro game through and through. So as a standard edition with meeples, but I really think if you want this game, you probably want at least the middle edition because it comes with those screen printed custom robot shapes, and I think those just help remembering too. This one has 1 base, this one has 2 bases, and that one has 3. Right? It looks like this guy, he could kind of do like all 3.
If you ran out of a 1 or a 2, you could use him for.
Yeah, maybe that's what he's for. I'm not sure, but then if you're playing with this one, that just looks like that would be terrible because now I have to remember like what color has 1 foot and what color has 2 feet. So that's an example of like a component upgrade that I think helps not just it look better, but also it probably plays simpler. And then they have a super deluxe version with play mats and stuff. But cool vibe there, I think, and the idea of the different workers that go out in different ways is also cool. So again, worker placement used a lot nowadays. All right, Devin, that's it for our games this week. What is going to be Devin's pick of the week out of these? How many was that? 8 different games that we looked at for the week of November 8th.
It's a tough one for me because I think you're leaning towards Tend.
I'm undecided at this point. You choose whatever one you want because I've got a couple.
And the pack of 4 games from Allplay.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun. There's so much variety there.
Mm-hmm.
And then Robotopia just looked funny at the end.
Yeah.
So I'm choosing half the list.
Any one of those stand out more than the others?
Tend. I think.
Okay. Yeah, I like it. That one I think does look really cool. I watched like a little mini playthrough, and there is a lot going on because you have 2 full sheets of stuff that you're marking, and then you're putting out those like crop dice, and you can also, instead of doing crops, you can put fences in that area to put animals out instead, and then you can go mining, and so it seems like there's quite a few different options and strategies you could employ. You could say, well, I'm just going to fish this game, and then if you upgrade some other stuff, you can fish out further, so you get like this card that sits above your board that's like a different fishing pond, and I don't know, it's kind of crazy. So I think that's a good choice, Devin. For me this week, I'm going to pick the 4 games from Allplay. I think the value there is really cool, and I really like the way that a couple of those games sound. Ruins with the transparent cards looks really cool, and Vegas Strip with the kind of bluffing mechanism I think seems really awesome. So that's one that I've got my eye on with the 4 different games there. Ruins, Oddland, Vegas Strip, and Money. And that's going to do it for Crowdfunding Corner for the week of November 28th. Thank you so much for watching this video. As most of you know, gaming top-down is an independent endeavor. I don't accept money from publishers for previews or opinion-related content, but there are a few ways that you can support the channel and help me keep the lights on. Liking this video and subscribing to the channel helps me to grow. If you're thinking of getting a game that I covered in this video, please click the affiliate link in the description of this video. It helps to support me and doesn't add any cost to your purchase.
I also do a weekly gaming podcast where I talk about the board games that I'm playing along with my brother. You can check that out on Apple's podcasts and on Spotify. And you can also get that podcast 3 days early over on our Patreon. You can follow the Patreon at patreon.com/supergamebrothers completely for free. But if you do support us over there, you get some extra perks like being able to write into the show, getting early access to the show, voting on the games that I'm going to cover and review, and lots of other fun stuff. Thanks so much for your support, for liking and commenting on my videos. You really are what helped keep the lights on for me. Thank you.